So, is two women responsible for the death of Mildred, a young Mildred Alexis Old Crow? Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one, and I'm a Discovery influencer. Yes, so Mildred Alexis Old Crow was found back in February of 2021, right on the Montana Indian reservation. Two women being responsible. Is that or is that not truth? Is that truth or false? Who to be that young is to say who played a part in her death. So, Mildred was last seen on the reservation back in 2019, yet was reported missing November 2020. That's right there, that gap. For Mildred to be last seen on the reservation back in 2019 and then be reported missing November 2020 is to say something's wrong there, right? It hasn't been stated on how and why Mildred died. Her body was found by a camper. I should have did her story a little bit sooner. But back in December, two women were arrested because of their connection in her disappearance, right? The two women were charged back in January for child endangerment. Okay, let me go back. December, they were arrested, right? In connection with her disappearance. A camper found her dead. But when I go back to why, because see, that's the question, right? You're doing child endangerment. You're charged for that. Two females, right? You're charged for this stuff, right? Okay, that's to say, yes, somebody had to have. The women are gonna always stand in question because she just like in my opening, she wasn't reported missing. You're going almost a whole year, right, and not reporting a child missing. So that's to say you took her and you hid her or something, right? Were there any other individuals involved? A month later, the two women were charged with additional counts of custodial interference. She's up above my head, so they were charged again, right? You're charged with all this. The two women were granted informal custodianship, right? Over Mildred back in 2017. So that's where the question will always stand. Okay, so you're granted, you're basically like overseer of a young child, right? Back in 2017, you were granted that. In 2017, it's not clear on the relationship between Mildred and the two women. And that too right there stands why no one knows who was fully responsible for her death, right? But for two women to be granted something, it's to say, isn't that more responsibility on the end of their own end? For two women, that's not one woman being granted something, that's two women being granted. Yes. So it's like okay, because to have two women is to say more responsibility, as in seeing the overseer or being overseers of a young child, right? The common sense to say something is completely off or wrong, because if two women can't be responsible for a young child, is to say that something is wrong there. women are known to, not all women, but women are known to be caring, right? You're a woman and you're caring for a young child. So why is it in question of what the relationship of the child was to those two women? As in, that should be the question, but I'm trying to figure it out, because they're two women being granted a young child, as in overseer of a young child in 2017. She ends up dead, and then no one knows the relationship of those two women to the young child, right? That's why I asked if somebody else was involved. Was there a male involved? Was there another individual involved that had played a part of it, and say the two women covered? Because the two women make themselves look bad time and time again when you try to just sit and figure out, these two of y'all. One should be more responsible, but possibly more than the other, right? Just because they're two women don't mean that they're fully responsible, but somewhere in that should have been more of a responsible person. So maybe one of those people killed the young child, and the other covered or something. Maybe Mildred died by hands of one of the females, and then the other one covered it, and so they're both covering, right? I Yeah, because to not report her missing sooner, I said that like 4 or 5 times. To not report a young child missing, you being two responsible adults, is to say she more than likely died at the hands of one of them, and they just both, yes, keep quiet on that, right? Uh, yeah. Because to be over a child is to be, that's the point of responsibility. That's why you're granted something. You're granted something so that you can make sure that the child is clothed and fed. You're granted responsibility over a child so that you can make sure that the child's needs are completely met. And yet to be granted say, to oversee, to be over a child, be responsible, to be granted that, that's what's the word for it? If I'm granted responsibility to, yes, to watch after a child, that's something special in itself. That's to say, care has to be there, but not all the time. It's people in foster homes and all the rest that kill kids and don't feed them, and sometimes even they can be the worst, right? So we're on investigationdiscovery.com. The ID logo stands in the far left corner. Live now. Twisted Sisters. New episodes: The Clown and the Candyman, Season 1, Episode 1. The worst thing is to have one grown female kill a child and then have the other one cover. And then they both keep silent. Episodes, unlocked episodes. To receive an audio visual previews, or click the play button, you would in fact receive that. ID Go original series. They're looking too guilty. Recommended for you. Shouts out to Lieutenant Jokinda as well as Paula. To receive a newsletter from Investigation Discovery, is to scroll down, type your email address in, and click next, and you would in fact receive a newsletter. Dear viewers, let me know what you think about the story. Let me know what you think about the video, and let me know who you think was involved in the murder of young Mildred. May you enjoy your day. I will in fact enjoy mine, and I'm gone for now. 1.